You are listening to Haven Talks, a podcast that engages in conversations and discussions on issues of the arts, advocacy, social injustice, and so much more. Our podcast sponsor is Music Haven, a nonprofit organization located in New Haven, Connecticut, that empowers and connects young people through exceptional tuition-free music education, mentoring, and performance. Learn more about Music Haven by going to musichavenct.org.
Welcome back, kings, queens, and ethereal beings. This is your boy Robert, and I'm here with my girl
Jeanna'e.
And this is our podcast, Haven Talks, where on a yearly basis we come to you with conversations on a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of us. So how about we just jump right into the little swimming pool that we prepared for today. Today's topic of discussion is very heavy. We're going to be talking about and sharing a lot of experiences from people who are close to us, people we've had consent to share their stories and portions of their lives. So ultimately, we're going to be talking about the negative experiences of the BIPOC community within their own households and from their own family members.
True.
Jeanna'e, how about you give the crowd a little quick dissertation on what BIPOC is?
A quick summary, brief.
An analysis, if you will.
Okay, anyway, so yeah, let's just dive into it. I could really talk about it. Okay. But BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color, to encompass all the minority groups together. So that's who we're going to be talking about. Mainly the Black experience, and also it's going to be anonymous. So, yeah.
So, to give you guys a little bit of perspective, we're talking about this a lot to give everyone some perspective from what we're speaking from. So we're going to only be focusing on Black, Hispanic, the queer perspective. So we will not be focusing on the white perspective. This is not to erase their experiences or their traumas. Essentially, we want you to listen to us, learn from our experiences, and understand how these experiences shape us in our everyday lives. So, Jeanna'e.
Robert.
Let me tell you about a time.
A time.
So, I was talking to my friend Alexis, and she's a Black girl, grew up in Louisiana, somehow ended up in Connecticut. Family moved around a lot. It was a little crazy.
It's giving nomad. Okay.
I asked her if she could tell me about a time that she was scared to tell her parents something, because I was like, I'm doing this little podcast, blah, 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 and I'm looking for some stories and experiences to share if you're comfortable in doing so. And she was like, oh, yeah, of course. We go way back, whatever, back to middle school. She was like, I'd love to. For real. So we chatted it up on the phone for about 3 hours. And she basically broke it down that it was very hard for her to express any sort of emotions or any kind of negative feelings, that anything that basically wasn't like happiness, joy, everything was going fine. She sort of picked up on the things that were going wrong in her home, things that didn't make her feel comfortable, and always notices the struggles and understood that everyone goes through their struggle, but also noticed that no one was doing anything about it. So she noticed herself developing a lot of anger issues, a lot of hard ways to communicate, very aggressively, very arrogantly, as if she was invincible, because she's been forced to keep up this facade because it was hard for her to express her emotions around her family. She was always told that, because you grew up in the hood, you have to be tough. And to a certain extent, may be true. You should have a thicker skin, but that doesn't mean we should leave out space for other emotions. Emotions are part of the entire human experience. It's what makes animals and creatures alive. And so she told me about a time where she went to school always been a straight A kid, very smart, super intelligent. One time in 7th grade, had an English teacher.
Oh.
She didn't really like him. This English teacher was admittedly a little bit of an asshole. Like, she told me about some stories about how he would single her out for having a Southern accent and not saying words correctly because she was in the Northeast at this time. So it was very, very ignorant, very demeaning of her intellect. And she was like, dog, this is just the way I speak. Like, dang, like, cut me some slack. Like, for real, bro.
Not cut me some slack.
Like, very white, did not understand Black idioms, Black hyperbole.
Not the colloquialisms, babes.
Couldn't get it.
Couldn't fathom.
Like, not their fault. It's not for them.
It's not for them.
It's not for them. But, like, just because you don't understand it, that doesn't mean that someone's stupid. So she ended up just like not being invested in his class, didn't do any of his work, had this big essay. She knew she could do it, like read the book, knew everything about what was going on, and basically it was like a book report to her. He was calling it a systematic analysis, but she was like, girl, I don't even think you know what you're talking about.
I don't think you actually have a grasp on systematic, love. I don't think that's what you know.
So she didn't write this paper, and she ended up getting a D in the class, like totally her fault, but the teacher did not make her feel safe in the space.
D's get degrees.
How are you supposed to learn? How am I supposed to gain information from you if you're putting me in a position to like not want to receive anything from you, period? Like, you can't. True. You got to make me feel safe and me feel comfortable because I'm the learner. All right?
Yep.
Like, I can't learn if my emotions are not in the right space, or it's harder to process information in that way. But like,
no, seriously,
untrained professional just didn't really get that. So she got a D, and never in her life has Alexis brought home a D, like, ever, period. And she already knows that, like, explaining such things as like, I didn't clean the cat litter because, I was tired and I fell asleep, usually ended up in a whole, like, rant and a whole, like, you're irresponsible. Like, why are you doing this? Like, we got standards to uphold. And it's just like, babes, relax. It's
let's take it down a notch.
Like, you act like you didn't. I'm not gonna share that part. It's not for me. But essentially, did not tell her parents whatsoever that she got this D, and she did not bring that D home, and she also did not bring herself home.
Hey, she was gone, love.
She was like, you know what? I'm not trying to deal with this. I gotta avoid this. I gotta skirt. So I'm gonna just take my report card and my bag, and we go see where the horizon takes us. She got found within like 2 hours. She was like, what?
No, she got found.
Like, she was a teenager, like 12, 13. So like,
dang.
It was a huge thing because there was just no space for her to express like wrongdoings or sensitive emotions, or like, oh, I messed this up, but I'll do better next time. Or even, had she been able to communicate with her parents that, oh, my teacher is discriminating against me, or like picking me out or calling me stupid because I come from the South, like, if she was able to do that, maybe things wouldn't have transgressed like that. But her and her mom are doing great today. Like, they talk things out, and like they're doing fine. And it's like a story that they look back and laugh at, but it's like,
laugh. That's trauma right there, y'all. That's trauma right there.
You gotta laugh through the pain.
But you know what? It's okay. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. So like the person that I interviewed, I'm just gonna use like gender neutral terms, to completely remain anonymous. But so the time that they were afraid to tell their parents something was, so they like went through a traumatic experience, which I obviously cannot share because it's, but they went through a traumatic experience, and I think they said that they were like 16 around that age, and which changed the trajectory of their life, because then they started to feel as though that they developed anxiety. And it wasn't mild and it wasn't severe. Like it was
moderate to severe.
Plaque psoriasis. It was
Thank you.
It was like in between, but it was like disabling them, basically, like, for lack of a better word. Like, it was hard for them to separate their own thoughts. It was hard for them to concentrate in school, those types of things. And so they mentioned how they were like, oh, they're minors, so they wanted to get like a medical diagnosis. So they felt as though that they need to tell their parents that, because when you under your parents' insurance, like, you can't just be going to the doctor all willy-nilly. They're gonna get the note back home anyway.
I went to the doctor once, and like, I'm like 22 now, like working a job and everything, doing my thing, and my insurance was like, oh girl, you only got $1,000 left. I was like, what?
I ain't got money.
Wait, how does this all work?
Like, what you mean, babes? How we run out of money?
I don't understand.
This is
I
Medicaid.
thought health insurance, but I could come up in this.
This is Medicaid.
And like get it on, like get my surgery on, like open heart surgery. I'm cleared.
Absolutely
and
not.
She was like, girl,
you want open heart surgery on Medicaid? Oh, babes, you might as well just open your sternum up yourself. You might as well open your sternum up yourself. I don't think...
Go get the pointed rock from the back.
You better go get the obsidian, babes. You better go forage.
It cracks like a crab shell.
You better
ever had
forage.
a seafood boil?
The soup... Okay, you're done.
Okay, we're off topic.
But yeah, so basically, they told their parents, right, like, guys, like, I feel like I have anxiety. I feel like I developed anxiety. And they told me that their mom's reaction was just way, like, above and beyond. Like, it should have never been there. Their parents, like, their mom was like, oh, you don't have anxiety. I don't know where you getting that from. You was never afraid of this or afraid of that. And if you want to go to the hospital, they're going to put you in 72-hour lockup.
First of all, girl, how you gonna tell me what the hell going on in my body?
Like, babes, I didn't know we were interconnected.
I'm 16 at this point. I have consciousness. Like,
I didn't know we were interconnected at the brain, babes. I didn't know it was that. I didn't know I was sending you brain waves, and you could feel what I'm feeling. I will gladly.
You ever seen that episode of SpongeBob where he was I forgot what he was doing with Squidward, but like there was this scene and he was like, "We're brothers, only closer." He like lifted up his shirt, and there was like this.
They was like fresh
connection.
out of work. They was fresh out of work, y'all. It was nasty.
Were attached at the hip,
conjoined,
like,
if you will. Listen, I
somehow
was like,
fraternal,
girl,
though.
I ain't know like my brain waves was getting passed over to you, babes. Like, what's happening? You know what I mean? And so, yeah, they were like explaining to me how that was kind of traumatic. Like, in the sense of, one, like, you're not taking my mental health seriously. And two, like, now you think I'm lying. And then we're going to go as far as to say that I'm going to be put in 72-hour lockup. You know what I mean?
Like, you're exaggerating.
I thought 72-hour lockup was that if you were a harm to yourself and others, babes, I only got anxiety.
Exactly.
I'd just be a little shaken up, a little stirred.
They walk around the corner like, who?
Like... Dang, I know the panic attack was, oh, you're going to harm yourself and others, so you need to have a 72-hour lockup.
I like anxiety, dang. Totally real. Like terrifying. Like, it must feel awful and horrible to feel that way. But that also does not mean that, like, you gonna swerve on the highway and like take someone out because you got scared by a rabbit in the road. Like, it doesn't correlate. Like, exaggerating the severity of my mental health issues and like mental health in general in the household is like something that's held a lot of people back. Mm-hmm. And now, like, I had a friend who experienced something similar. They their mom was going through like schizophrenia and bipolar. With homicidal and suicidal tendencies, was on medication. The medication is a whole nother story because, like, sometimes the medication just takes you out.
Let's not get into the SSRIs, guys.
Out, and you can't function because, like, your body is on all of these chemicals. They're there to help you, but also they come with side effects, right?
Let's not get started on the pharmaceutical industry, y'all. I've got weds.
Not for this one.
I've got weds.
Not for this podcast.
The next one.
But ultimately, so like her mom was going to therapy, and their mom would like just like KO like throughout the day. And essentially like as she was dealing with her ADHD problems and her like mental health disorders, her mom like just took on this stance that was like, I'm getting you help and getting you medication, but like why are you still like this? Like, it's like, one, she felt like the medication did not help her at all. In fact, it like completely like drained her personality. She felt like she woke up in the morning, swallowed a pill, and felt like a zombie for the rest of the day until she fell asleep. Focus improved, great, but like emotions completely stunted, and like feeling in general was just like on a emotional level was just non-existent. She could still feel pain if she got punched or something, I'm assuming, but like as far as like feeling happiness while being with her friends, she had stopped feeling it. Like she felt dead because she felt so wired and so like
you're on autopilot or something.
I gotta get things done. You're just like moving through life. NPC behavior is what they call that.
Not the NPC behavior. I think that's a little
and so
insane.
Ultimately like it was this cycle of like you're treating it a little bit, but no one is addressing the source. No one is actually like changing the behavior to try and get better, because a lot of things with mental health, it's really difficult behavioral changes and mental thought changes that you have to make in order to like see some progress. The medication is there to help, but that doesn't mean the medication is treating the whole problem. Like there's still some work that needs to be done on the human side of things as far as understanding and taking things at the pace that you're allowed to take them because of whatever debilitations that you have.
True.
That's okay. That's fair. You should be allowed to do that. But when you're being raised in a household and a culture where it's just like mental health is seen like, you should do something about it if it's severe, but if it's not severe like ADHD or not severe like anxiety, for example, that it should be ignored or it should be just like cast aside and like not taken as seriously. She tells me all the time about how her dad would just be like, oh, she's just bouncing off the walls, she's fine, she had too much sugar. Girl didn't even eat anything when she woke up.
Like, I'm just like this. I just woke up.
And I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rip and race. What do you mean?
Get some food in me. We on 15 for the rest of the day.
Exactly. Like, I don't understand. There's no chilling out. There's no nap. There's no calming down.
I might crash at 3:30 p.m. and then I'm up again.
Exactly. You just gotta take a little, and then boom, I'm back.
4:15.
Boom, we back.
Running.
Not even 3:32.
Gas.
We back up. We're back up. Like I didn't need anything. I'm on 0 fuel today, and we're already on 10.
No, for real.
Like I feel as though, like just from, in my opinion, that they definitely, I like the Black family I can speak for, but like the Black household trauma, the way it works is like they don't really see your mental illness or your mental health issues as serious until it's serious. Until it's like, y'all, I ain't even gonna lie to you. I started hearing those voices, guys. I started hearing the voices. I'm sorry. I really don't know what you want me to do.
And then everyone wants to be like, oh, you need to get some help. But like, girl, where was the help when it was just like mild psychosis?
Exactly.
Where was the help when I was like, did y'all see that? And no one else seen that.
Where was the help when I was just manic?
Literally, when my mood swing would go up and down and all around. Like,
I'm saying, like now I'm seeing people. I'm seeing them, guys. I'm looking at them. But you can't see them, y'all. What lady? In what chair? I'm staring right at her. What do you mean? Now it's, oh, well. And now they hide in you.
And now it's like, we got to protect them. We got to shield them from.
Shield me for what? Can
Girl,
I get
go
help?
Give me some help. Like, for real.
Can I have some assistance? Like, you just gonna lock me up in the castle just because I got mental health issues?
Please,
like, dang, I can't even eat. Like, that's crazy to me, right? But it's like, yeah, like and it stems from a lot. Like, you know, like they try their hardest to protect you, or like they don't want to deal with it. It's too much. They don't know how to confront their own feelings. And I feel like
also like the crazy expenses that the medical world imposes on people who aren't being paid enough to afford it. Like,
true. Like it is an attack on poor people, on marginalized groups, on minority groups. It's really hard for us to, you know, like get the diagnoses that we deserve.
Right.
Like, you know, I feel like I have, you know, undiagnosed ADHD. But growing up, it wasn't like, oh, let's get you tested for ADHD because you got to pay. Right. And if insurance don't cover that, then we got to cover it out of our own pocket. We don't know how much that's going to be. We don't know when we're going to get the money, those types of things. So it's like, you know, you just put it on the back burner. That's when you start to get the excuses like, oh, they're just on sugar, like, you know, they're just too hyper, whatever, blah, blah, blah. When we all know that's not the case.
Right.
But we're just going to have to say it is until you get older, afford your own tests, you know, be able to do your own research and figure out your own self.
But then by then, you've been mired and stuck with behavioral patterns and things that aren't compatible with the way that you're trying to live.
True.
Or with the things that you're trying to do.
And then you have to assimilate into this, like, culture of, oh, like ADHD isn't normal, like, so you need to act normal. But it's
literally.
Like, what is that? Like, once I realized what stimming was, and I was like,
me, yes, you.
Me? Stim? Right? Like, stimming is like when, like, you need to be stimulated, so you do things that stimulate you in a positive way. Like some people dance and shake and stuff
in circles, like in the kitchen, because like it's the only space that's big enough in my house. I'm just doing circles.
Not just doing circles.
And everyone's sitting at the dining table, and we're having conversation, and I'm going in circles, but like, you know, I'm spitting out them thoughts, I'm spitting out them facts, I'm tracking, I'm following. It just helps me focus better.
Exactly. Like I used to like drum on the table. I used to do whatever I could, like I used to play with my fingers, like just
I used to be
mold
an
them, try
aggressive foot tapper. Like,
damn. Oh, okay. It don't.
I was
mean
making
a thing.
beats. I was making beats. I thought I was gonna be a tap dancer one day. I was
Come
gonna
on,
kill
Jazz.
that shit. Like, oh my god.
Come on here, Jazz Square. Or I like hum. Like I'll just sing little tunes, but I didn't know that was stimming. And somehow I got on everybody's nerves. But I'm like, y'all, like, it's for me, really, not for you. So you want to stim? You go ahead.
Part of that might also just be like people's own like intolerance to like subtle noises. Like I know another one of my friends, their mom was like very sensitive to the sound of a spoon clacking on their teeth when they were eating cereal, and just like absolutely hated it. Could not be in the same room. And it's like, babes, that is something you should probably check out. Like, seriously, don't just ignore that and just think like, oh, they're doing that to get on my nerves, or like they're being like disrespectful. But it's like, you know, maybe it's not normal to feel like the sound of someone's teeth clacking that no one else is paying attention to, because usually our brains like phase out noises and sounds and things that we don't need to listen to, because that's how we are capable of perceiving anything in the world. Otherwise, we'd be having too much information at once and just...
No, seriously. Like, the same thing happened to the same person. Like, they would, like, the thing is, you can't get, like, ceramic or glass bowls or porcelain bowls and then get mad at someone for the like spoon or fork clinking in the bowl. It's made out of ceramic. If you didn't want to hear the click clack of the spoon, get a paper bowl. Get a plastic bowl.
I was going to say
Let
maybe a
us
paper
not-
bowl. I'm not sure those won't last very long.
Biodegradable, babes. Eat it.
That's true.
Eat the paper after. It's all biodegradable. Or you can eat the ceramic. I don't know what's stopping you, but basically,
Biology, babes. It's
I feel like all of these things stem from, like you got your internalized homophobia, you got your toxic masculinity, you got your internalized misogyny, you have your patriarchal systems, you have generational trauma. Like, these things are all interconnected.
Yeah, it's hard for marginalized individuals to focus a lot of the time on their own personal health because they're fighting so much in the world and just fighting to survive.
Like, I would understand if it was like a one-time fee.
I mean, I get it, like the value of human work. What does that sound like?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Work ethic, 40-hour work week. And then they say, well, how can you have mental illness? Babes, I don't see my family.
This is not natural.
I don't see my family. I see my boss more than I see my mama. Like, I think that might be one of the causes of mental illness. And then, like, I can't leave work because I just had a mental breakdown. Now I just chill in the break room and get some water and you'll be okay. I'ma blow this.
Girl, my veins are collapsing right now. Like, get me out of here.
Help me, please. But like, yeah, like these things like aren't necessarily our fault, but when we're not actively trying to seek a way to, stop the generational trauma, to end the cycle, like, then that's when it becomes about us, because we're not, educating ourselves. We're not educating other members of our community, like, sure, everybody's on their own individual path to like their own like mental success or what they view as mental success. But like, if we, if you see that grandma sitting here like, oh, you just came back from Miami, you a little dark, ew, it's like, now I gotta.
Because why do grandmas and grandfathers you say the wildest things, like becoming left field? Nobody was even talking.
Nobody was even talking.
Nobody
Like,
was
who's
even
asking
talking.
you?
I just sit on the couch and she'd be like, "You so black."
Or they'd be like, I bet you be eating good.
What?
Me? Well, I'm so sorry that I wasn't born during the Great Depression.
Like,
I'm sorry that I got to eat.
If it wasn't so funny, I would be a lot more offended.
Like,
why would you say that?
It's
Why
like,
would you say
that's
that?
mad random, but you don't see me sitting here, okay, and like, you on your third wig, Grammy. You on your third wig, but here I am trying to be nice. The
Arm fat
peacemaker.
sagging. I know it make the food taste good, but like, come on. Come on.
But you do have to have serious.
Let's not get on each other.
I feel like you have to have serious trauma in order to make some baked mac and cheese. Like, you just, if you don't, I tried to make baked mac and cheese, right, when I was in college. I was hungry. I bought the ingredients that I thought I needed. It wasn't enough. I didn't have it.
You ain't get the aluminum pan?
I did, right, but it was big and like, I didn't.
You ain't make enough?
Like, the pot that I had was just so big. I couldn't boil that many noodles.
You made it was small.
And so I called my mom, right? And I was like, yo, Mom, I need you to help me. I need you to help me. And then I was like, girl, I got everything, I got the elbow noodles. I got the cheese. I got this measly little cheese grater, the pans, the pot, the garlic salt, whatever. It's garlic salt, baby. All you need is salt and pepper. And
You did not
say it
just
again.
say that.
Say it again. I dare you. Say it again.
You did not just say that.
I want your words to come through the microphone on my phone and say
but
it again.
It depends on what we were talking about. Because, like, for mac and cheese,
It's
I mean,
baked.
I garlicky mac and cheese.
Well, like, I was just trying to have a little bit more flavor than some salt and pepper. I didn't think it was really going to go that far. You know what I mean? And then she talking about some, girl, you need lots of butter and eggs and you don't mix it or nothing. And I was, girl, so what am I supposed to do with this evaporated milk? And why do you have evaporated milk? I was like, girl, I'm just trying to go based off of what I remember.
Yeah, that's wrong.
But no, seriously, like, back to what we were saying, like, I think that the BIPOC, the queer experience they're interconnected, especially because, you know, like there's Black queer people, you know what I mean? Like those types of things.
All
and I
kinds
feel like
of queer people.
all kinds of queer people all across the spectrum.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
They everywhere. Like
they right
real.
outside, y'all.
Like right outside.
They right there.
It's me.
Yeah, it's me. But like, no, seriously, I think like to try and tackle it from the inside, you know, to correct your family members when they say something that will not break the cycle, you know, like they starting to get a little too texturist, a little colorist, a little, you know, racist. Like you need to check your family if they doing too much because, you know, again, like we're a BIPOC community. Like we are all we got. We understand our experiences better than anyone. So, you know, like we need to kind of band together if we think that we're going to try and defeat the patriarchy or like white supremacy and stuff like that. So
a lot of it starts with doing our own reflection and our own work to get ourselves stronger in order to overcome what seems to be insurmountable. We got to be strong individually so we can be even stronger together. And that means checking yourself. And,
True.
You know, trying to learn and adapt and not, I don't want to say assimilate into like normalcy, but like practicing healthy ways to communicate and talk about your issues and the help that you need, because we got to reach out for help so we can find it. And a lot of doors will get shut in our face simply because of what we look like or where we come from. But if we're not looking for the help, it won't come.
Wise words.
So I asked another friend. I asked him to tell me about a time a view of a member of his family changed. The story's a little bit ridiculous, in my personal opinion.
It's okay. It's okay.
You know, it really goes to show how like the smallest things people can remember, and like you don't know what affects people at whatever stage in their life. So he was like, all right, so boom. I had the Snickers bar, right? And it was an almond and a little cream wrapper. He listed off all the dimensions. He was like, it was a 4x4, 12 centimeters long, like
Screaming.
Right in the freezer. It was a hot day. He lived in Georgia, summer, scorching. Okay, all the things, all the hot, the spicy vocabulary, all the words you could throw in there. It was that. So he put his Snickers bar in the deep freezer. And I don't know if you guys know what a deep freezer is.
Oh, baby, it's deep.
Essentially a separate freezer that freezes colder than your usual freezers. You open it up and it's Antarctica in there.
I've been locked in one. So yeah, I know how cold it is.
No, my siblings really locked me in one.
It's okay, we're not going to talk about that part of the trauma.
I mean, it was fun for me because I got him back.
Fun.
One thing about me,
I'm gonna get that lick back.
You're not just gonna get me for free.
Gotta get that lick back.
But he was like, I'm sitting on the couch. My uncle comes in and it's like, yo, I'm gonna borrow whatever this is in the freezer. Like my niece wanted or whatever. And he was just sitting there. He was like, now what do I do in this situation? Do I be like, that's mine, know that she can't have it? Because at that point I'm getting called selfish and I'm not sharing with the younger kids and the younger generation. Like I worked hard for this candy bar. Do you know how hard it is to make $2 as a 7-year-old? Like, girl, like
dang, $2 for the Snickers almond at 7 years old. The inflation is inflating.
For real.
Hello?
Like,
wait a
crazy.
minute. That's shiesty. The Jolly Ollie man is cold.
He ends up relenting, not saying anything, because, like, what do you do in that situation? This is your uncle being like, I'm taking this and I'm giving it to someone else. Like, okay, like, that's mine, but okay. And he was like, the worst part about the entire debacle, the part that, like, really stuck with him, he goes outside, uncle eating the Snickers bar. And he was like, so we're living like this?
Like Larry?
You came into the house and lied to me.
Straight
He's not even
up.
here. Like,
Straight
just
up.
looked in the freezer and was like, the first thing I want, I'm gonna take, and what? Who gonna do something about it?
Sounds like a power trip to me.
Oh, for real. Like, I was like, oh my God, I would be pretty upset too, because I would have said no. Me, I was a child. I would have just said nah. Nah.
Because me personally, I'm gonna cry.
Not
I'm
you
gonna sit there and cry at the top of my lungs. Mommy.
See, I wasn't allowed to cry, but I was allowed to be a little sassy. I was a little cynical.
Nah, I would
I
have
was
just
like, you
broke
sure you had
down and
enough
cried.
Snickers today? You ain't had enough? Girl, look like you had about 4.
No, I'm just crying. That's it. I'm gonna just sit there and now my life over, and now I'm telling my mom that you not only ate my Snicker, but you punched me in the face.
No, for real. Make
I'm
it up
doing
every
everything in my
line,
power.
Every line in the book.
Because I need you to get in trouble.
I'm going to break my leg on the way.
And I need rip my toenail off. I need you to reimburse me
But
those
yeah,
$2.
So I was talking with them. I was like, that's tough. Like, you really got to view, like, one, people who have more power than you can just come up and take your things. And as long as they have more money, more physical strength, more anything than you that makes them feel like they're in a position of power or that you're their subjugate, it don't matter what you think you own.
Power
It
trips
doesn't
make
matter.
me want to
And
throw up.
even if you make a valid argument against an authority figure, it's like at the end of the day, they're the authority figure.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now
like
you lying. Now you disrespectful because you too young to
Now
to
you
be
cuss
doing
them
this.
out and kick them out the house. Like, girl, I don't even own the keys. You don't let me have a key.
No, you don't let me have a key. I'm only 7. No, I feel like like a power trip for me is just it's off. It's off. Like, why are you thinking that you could treat me like this because you're older than me, because you do this, you do that, whatever, blah blah blah. But I think it
don't even make sense half of the time. Like, you could have just came in the house
majority
and
of the
asked.
time.
You could have just came in the house and asked. Like, why did he ask?
Or since you so big ballin', like brokey, you could have just went to the store and got your own Snicker. But no, you had to steal from the poor. Reverse Robin Hood? I'm not feeling that.
No.
I'm not feeling that.
Nah.
But like when I asked I asked my cousin, but y'all not gonna know my cousin name, right? But I asked my cousin, and so my cousin was saying how their time where they viewed their family member differently was they were like at my cousin's house they have like a lounge area like the cousins on my mama's side, they made their dollars, okay? They earned their income, their house, right? So they had like a lounge area. And so they had like, they're watching TV. It's like my cousin, like my other cousin. It's way too many cousins, way too many uncles and aunts and all that, right? But it's like they were there chilling.
Family be big as hell.
Yeah, but like, dang, I couldn't get an invite.
Huge.
I couldn't get an invite. Maybe I wanted to be there, right? But like my cousin was like, they were watching this show called What Would You Do with John Quinones. I think everybody know John Quinones, right? And so it was an episode where they were like, it was like a gay couple, right? And the gay couple were actors, and then the like bigoted couple were actors. And then, like, the gay couple was, like, coupling it up. You know, like, they're at a restaurant. They're coupling it up.
Wait, so the gay couple wasn't actually gay?
Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if the acting was just on par like that or if they was really part of the alphabet mafia, but...
Not the queer baiting.
Not the queer baiting. How could John do this just to prove a point? But, like, no, it was... like, they were, like, just doing coupley things, like, sitting, like... You know, just, I don't know, just minding their business. And then the bigoted couple was like, oh, like the older guy was like, this is so, like, like if this was my son, I would have kicked my son out of the house, but like blah, 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 because he not about to be gay or whatever, da, da, da. And then like the
like,
wife,
I didn't know you cared so much.
I didn't know you cared so much about me. But like the wife was like one of those, I guess, like submissive type wives, I guess. And then was like, oh, like I don't know about kicking him out, but I wouldn't be happy if he was gay or whatever. Da, da. And like using their like biblical references or whatever. And then like this guy comes who's not an actor, and he walks up to the bigoted couple and is like, hey, listen, I'm a vet. Like, I fought for this country. I fought for people to have rights, and I fought for people like them to have rights. So like, you saying this is against their constitutional right to be who they are, blah, blah, blah. And then so my cousin's brother, like my other cousin, but like my cousin's brother was kind of watching, but like not really paying attention. And then was like, oh, so this is like, and pertaining to them, like pointing at them, and was like, oh, so this is who you be fighting for or whatever. Like, why do you go so hard for them and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, like my cousin's whole family is a part of the alphabet mafia. So I'm sitting here like, what do you mean? Like,
babe,
why wouldn't they go so hard? Especially,
what are you talking
like,
about?
what? Like, yo, what you mean? Like, I'm confused, right? So then my aunt was talking to my cousin, was like, oh, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. So, like, you fighting for them, like, you're gonna end up going to hell. And mind you, like, when my cousin told me the story, my cousin was like 13. So I'm like, why would you tell a 13-year-old that they're going to hell for
Not
fighting
a fire,
like for fighting for their family's constitutional right to be themselves? Like, I'm really not understanding. And it was just so interesting to see, because like I don't really see like my cousin as like a bad person or whatever. Like, everybody has their views and stuff, but like they were saying how they viewed their brother differently, because, you know, like, how could you feel so comfortable saying that when literally like our entire family is a part of the LGBTQ? Like, if you are saying this to like random strangers that you don't even know, then like you're indirectly directing that at your family.
Right.
So it was like kind of like a kick in the stomach, like, dang, like, you wouldn't go and say this to mommy, would you? Like, it's just very interesting how people react to certain things. And I felt like I was empathizing with them, like when they shared the story. I thought it was crazy.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people like bash on queer people for nonsensical reasons all the time. Be like, oh, someone gay hurt me one time, and so I just don't. And I'm like, they didn't hurt you because they were gay. They hurt you because they just didn't know what the hell was going on with themselves. Like, that has nothing to do with their queerness. Like, the queerness is exclusive of a person's personality type, of how a person communicates and deals and interacts with the world. We're all different people. The human genome is variable. So like, let's not chalk it up to a single attribute, because it don't make sense.
It doesn't
correlate.
Like, it reminds me when black boys, when they're younger, are just like, oh, black girls bully me because I watched anime, and so now I don't like black girls. Like, I don't date them. And I was just like, what does that have to do with that? Like, what do you mean? Like, I feel like
those particular people bullied you.
Exactly, because you partook in something that they weren't fully aware of or they found weird or whatever. But don't go spreading that across the entire like black women like entirety. Like, let's not say like, oh, the whole entire, like, I'm not gonna date black women, the whole entire population, because they're all the same because they bullied me when I was younger. And like most of the time, like when they were bullied, it's because like they was doing like those Naruto runs in the hallway. Like,
my girl, they said walk to class.
Like, babes, we're only going to lunch. I don't know why you're doing all that for shucking and jiving for some burnt chicken.
I should have carry out an on-boo operation. Like, this is
like,
not the time.
dang, like
the
the amount of times I've been told that, like, oh, I don't date black girls because like they're loud and ghetto, or they bullied me, and I'm like, are we serious?
Mm-hmm.
But like
but this is a different podcast.
This is a different podcast. Sneak peek.
The dating part, yeah.
Sneak peek part 2.
Oh, seriously.
But yeah, and I just think like back to the story, like how I just can't fathom that, and I feel like it goes back to your like internalized homophobia.
They obviously haven't done the work with themselves to, like, first of all, open up their eyes and see that the queer people that he loves and calls family, they are a part of the community that you're hating and that you are saying that shouldn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Like, you can't separate.
You have to think. Then he has to think about, well, why do I feel this way? Like, why is it like, who hurt me? Like, who hurt me?
No,
And
true.
then you gotta heal from that, and you gotta deal with that. Whether that's through therapy, or you go swimming, or you play the violin, or you hug a tree. Like, girl, do something. Like, do something to like reduce the amount of hatred that you just have in your heart. Like,
True.
for no reason
At all.
like, I'm not gonna say I'm pro hatred, but like, if someone did you wrong, like, that's fair. Don't be around them. That's cool. But like,
Them.
not
an entire community.
Restraining orders are very specific.
No, very specific.
They're very specific.
I think you could live. I think you'll survive.
So ultimately, we just have to do the work within ourselves and just talk about it more, and like be unafraid to talk about the things that have hurt us. And a lot of the time, in order to do that, we have to heal, and we have to, compartmentalize our trauma, break it down, and see through it, and see that we're better, we're stronger, we're faster, power level over 9,000, all the things.
I love that song.
I wasn't aware it was a song.
It's by will.i.am.
What?
I got that power. You know that song? I got that power. Okay, never mind. I guess not. I guess we don't have the power.
I
Never
thought I was
mind.
making a Dragon Ball Z reference. I'm lost.
Anyway,
All right. Thank you. Kings, queens, and ethereal beings. This has been Haven Talks. Join us again next time for a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of me.
us.
We. Okay.
Us.
I'm kidding.
Us.
Janae's here too, y'all.
Jesus.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next time.
Hasta luego.
I'm sick.
Haven Talks podcast would like to shout out our sponsor, Music Haven, and Baobab Truth Studios and production team. And to all of our listeners out there, thank you. See you next time.